Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot. Now this is a reading for the full moon in a Sagittarius / lunar eclipse for June the 5th, and this is a general reading that's looking at the interplay of energies that are around each sign. The way that they are embodied in my reading is the top row is seen as the archontic masks of the gods, those things that are trying to keep us separated from our divine self, and the bottom row of my cards are the actual gods, those beings who are trying to lift us up and reconnect us with the divine. Now, being 15 degrees of Sagittarius, so it's a midpoint degree, so right smack bang in the middle of the sign of the guru. So I think there might be quite a lot of, there's been an emphasis on a lot of the astrological movements recently, aspects I should say, about seeking out truth and personal truth. And the full moon in Sagittarius probably leaves us a little bit of a trap that we can be very, very assured in our truth. Now, I'm not going to discuss the astrology too much because I've already posted on the Facebook group, link down below in the description, at least 2 videos about this full moon. The first 2, Razalila Healing and Ksenia Moore. I recommend watching both of those. They can explain aspects of this full moon far better than I can. Now, this is a bulk introduction. There'll be a timestamp down below as well, so that you can watch more than one. And I recommend that you watch more than one. You want to watch your sun sign, obviously, but your rising sign as well, especially if you know what house Sagittarius is in for from your rising sign. And your moon doesn't go amiss, certainly not with a full moon reading. So 15 degrees Sagittarius. Now, this full moon is a penumbral lunar eclipse, which means the Earth's shadow just slightly touches the edge of it, but it is nevertheless an eclipse, and therefore will have an effect at least a week beforehand and a week after is what I've heard to start off with, because it does get superseded by an upcoming solar eclipse. But eclipses effects can be a long time, and full moon eclipses or lunar eclipses are very much about bringing things to an ending and completion of things, but they are also abrupt changes. You can't necessarily always know how an eclipse is going to manifest apart from change. Change is definite. Now, this eclipse forms a T-square to Mars and Neptune in Pisces. Mars is confused in Pisces at the moment. It's coming up to its conjunction with Neptune, where it gets a chance of being doused by the massive ocean that Neptune is. But it also, to me, represents action regarding your dreams and action regarding spirituality if you don't allow your Martian flame to be doused. Now, the T-square to Mars, and less so to Neptune, but still including, basically it's a very challenging aspect, but it does give a potential for success. Now, what I'm even more interested in is the fact that this is less than 1 degree off from the galactic center. So the day after these videos are released, I should be releasing my lunar galactic downloads, where we've got the galactic center download energy coming through the moon, but under the power of a full moon. This lines up immediately with the Great Attractor, which is a force out in the universe which is pulling multiple galaxies after it, including our own. It's been observed, as in seen that the galaxies are being pulled, but it's not been observed in and of itself, so it's indicating that it's very, very, very far away. But to be demonstrating an effect over multiple galaxies indicates, well, quite a lot of power. And of course, every time that we conjunct with the galactic center, the Great Attractor is right behind it. So it may be that just as the moon translates the galactic center energy, the galactic center may well be translating the energy of this Great Attractor, whatever it is. Now I'm going to read, I think I'm going to read the inside degree. What really got me was the Omega symbol, and I found a document with all the Omega symbols on them. I have yet to find out what the Omega symbols are, but it is a magician's wand sprouting golden leaves. What we set into motion now, as long as it is an attempt to exert our power, exhibit our power in a positive way, I would add, then that will bring some harvest to us. It may not bring the full harvest. You know, this wand might be sprouting golden leaves from it, but you wanted to grow an entire forest. So, you know, it's depends what scale you're wanting to work on. But if you wanted golden leaves, then you've got them. Now I'm going to read out from Inside Degrees Sagittarius 16, because 15 degrees something is the 16th degree of Sagittarius. So it's a man sharing sheep, practical fortitude and resiliency to keep finding a way to do it, to keep discovering how to get through the deepest quandaries, the greatest karmic traps. Ingenious and resourceful, paying attention to the cues, going to get it right. You're involved within a path which requires discipleship or apprenticeship, learning the ropes, building up fresh capacity in this lifetime to scale the heights. But you remain preoccupied and absorbed within honest tasks. A pervasive conviction grows and forms of how it really is. You're willing to take every step to reach a far goal and attentive to what is really there. A throwback to the old ways of a rural past, oddly comfortable in adopting forms and moving through phases and taking on the worlds. The journeyman knows the ways of the journey and gathers Earth's wisdom in small bundles, knowing how to be there when it counts. So that packs a lot into it, especially considering the state of the world, the state of the economy, the state of America at the moment. And there was one other degree, the Azoth symbol, which was thoughts being exchanged by many people over great distances. So there is that wonderful sense of community, which is reinforced by that inside degree that I read out to start off with. Now, housekeeping, like I said, there's the Facebook group down below, page, sorry. But the important thing is that page has an inbox. So if you're wanting to approach me for a personal reading, feel free. That's one of the ways you can do it. There's also a Twitter down below. I would very much like if you would comment and give me feedback on the reading. I've been doing these Full Moon Gods at Play readings for a while, so I'll be interested to see what you actually think of them and what you think of the spread and the how it's all put together. And also I try and respond to all of the comments. Thank you very much for everyone who's commented so far, and everybody who has subscribed. I'm a young channel. I'm 8 months old, I think. I'm 8 months old now. And every subscriber helps. Your next reading obviously will be that Lunar Galactic download. This month I am still to do my starseed guidance. I've done, new thing, I've done Chinese zodiac readings this month as well. So I've done the 12 Western signs and the 12 Chinese signs, so that's well worth a look. Mars conjunct Neptune later on in the month, and the second Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, this time with Jupiter in retrograde. I'm not even sure if Pluto might be in retrograde. Yeah, it is. So both of those in retrograde this time, so that's towards the end of the month. I think that's everything. Now, as I said, you can ask a question before this reading. It's not really a spread that is designed to provide you with an answer like some of my other spreads are, but you can ask a question if you want. Take a moment, think about all the questions around you. You've heard me say this before. Pick one of them, focus on it. Be aware of all of them, because the cards will answer what they want. Right, that's it. So let me bring up the cards. Okay, Sagittarius. Right. The general message that I'm seeing here is do not party. Whatever you do at the moment, do not party. So the archontic god forces, the archontic masks that pretend to be the gods that are arranged against us, we have Dionysus with freedom, followed by Dionysus with ecstasy, and Maui with discovery. Haninui Tipo with trust, the Graces with festivities, Kratesh with pleasure, and then finally Themis and Nemesis as the final card. So there's all that. I feel like you may be being told, come and party, come and party, come and party. You need some balance in your life. You need to, you know, just balance all the serious stuff with a little bit of fun and a little bit of party. There seems to be a little bit of a trap in this, but let's just look. Dionysus was also Bacchus, the Bacchanalia, the god of wine and of party, the god who inebriated himself through his initiation to get to Olympus, although that's maybe being a little unfair, because there is a very spiritual path that can be found with Dionysus that doesn't rely solely on alcohol. It's there is such a thing as the Dionysian mysteries. However, this is the archons pretending to be the gods on this top row, so I don't think there's much spiritual path to be found. There is simply alcoholism. But the concepts that we are being given here, freedom, ecstasy, discovery, trust, festivities and pleasure, all the things that are working against you. Now, I am not saying that you can't have any fun, but what I am saying is that you have to be very, very seductive about the fun that you are having. You have to, it seems that right now you could easily be distracted by someone who you believe, or something, you know, this could be an idea, a philosophy, a political campaign, whatever, that you believe, that you trust, and that trust may well be misplaced. We have on the bottom row of the actual gods that are trying to assist you, we have Aphrodite with love, Helen of Troy with beauty, Inanna with seduction, Hestia with inner fire, and Thor with action. Finally, with Persephone, which with this card tells me, with Persephone, there's an element of this too shall pass. There's an element of the seasons, of there is a time to celebrate. It's not right now. You know, there's because what we have here with Mumia is endings and rebirth, opposed by Andromalius with despair and suicide. So endings and rebirth, there ain't no party that leads to endings and rebirths that's necessarily in a healthy way. I mean, it can happen, you know, people can have those moments of revelation, but you know, it's quite unlikely. But it feels to me like you are being called, that you are being called to action. Right, so let's see what the tarot have got to add here. So with Dionysus and freedom, we have judgment. So there is that element of having to use your discernment, your decision-making power to work out what freedom actually means in this situation, whatever it is that you're facing. Because I don't think it's necessarily the same thing that everyone around you is telling you it means. Yes, it is a struggle to find out what's fair, what's right, what's working with you and what's working against you. Hangman there with Themis and Nemesis. But it's almost like you discover a new thing that makes you feel brilliant and you want to go ahead with it. You know, there's... But if you're placing your trust in the wrong people, it's going to cause stress. It's going to take you to somewhere that says it's a better place. But the whole thing is, on this top row of cards, they are mainly lies, you know, with the God cards, not necessarily the tarot. But you can put an end... Ah, this is interesting. Yes, what I said, that there is a time to party, a sort of a this too shall pass. You can put an ending to a situation in the most loving way possible. That is the... or it's not even... It's putting an end to a situation. So it's not a partnership, not a relationship, not an interaction. You're not necessarily ending it with somebody. You are simply ending a situation that is going on in that relationship. Mainly by using the tools of seduction here. Of, you know, come on, try it this way. And you know that where you're going to end up is the most loving place, because you have that inner fire within you, that inner fire of creating home. Now, I can mean home as in your home. I can mean home as in spiritual home. It could even simply be a philosophical or an educational home. You know, this is the topic where you will excel. This is the arena where you will excel. This is where you will really enjoy things. But that inner fire is something that you can share, that you can give that value of that sense of value and that sense of beauty. I'm really getting a very Venus element, planet Venus, with this Helen of Troy here. It's also, it's with the Helen of Troy, she was a good leader, as I remember correctly. And if I remember correctly, she was a good leader. She knew how and when to take a stand, and also to a point when not to. And this is what the High Priestess is telling me. So, surprise, surprise, a tarot reader's telling you to listen to your intuition. But I am telling you to listen to your intuition, and almost, if there is somebody trying to pull you into this festivity, carefree lifestyle, it's not a time for being carefree. It is a time to put an end to old cares for good. Not in a way where they can rear their head again in 6 months' time, as the seasons change, but in a way that is just for good. Because if you take action now, it will have good results. And you can bring together opposing parties, opposing concepts, opposing ideals gently by seduction. You show the fire of the hearth not through rage and vehement displays, but the fire of the hearth is something warm that people retreat to when they're cold. It makes the home welcoming. It protects the home. It keeps it warm, you know, and that's the... It's almost, with this High Priestess and Helen of Troy, it's you're demonstrating, or you are having demonstrated to you, a new form of beauty that hasn't necessarily been there before. But with this Aphrodite energy and Inanna here with seduction, I'm feeling that it's either somebody will be doing this to you and you should... Some situation will be doing this to you and pulling you along bit by bit, if you listen to a re-evaluation of what is valuable, what is beautiful and what isn't. Or you are trying to pull somebody else along and say, look, try it this way, just try it this way, see how it fits. But you're doing it gently and subtly, because you will face some challenges with this coming up. But maybe, I mean, it could just be that you are seducing yourself to a new way of being, you know, seeing where the... But I think you will have to reevaluate what precisely is ecstasy for you? What precisely is pleasure? What is the purpose of these festivities when all they are doing right now is causing stress? Can you really trust somebody to take you away to this better place when you've got no idea if this place is better or not? Because the joy that you can have remains. Helen of Troy had a wonderful love. Aphrodite is love. Inanna, yeah, she had fun. She also had a journey through the underworld, and that was so, in a way you can relate her journey to Persephone's time spent in the underworld. This is almost making me think, yeah, it's not the festivities. There's an element of something good, something nice in the underworld, but also something that you are pulling somebody else along with you because of that seduction energy. And again, it is clarified by the Two of Wands, the planning and the pulling things together, which is then followed by the Ace of Wands, the two things coming together into one thing, and that wonderful forward thrusting motion that the Ace of Wands promises. But that is clarifying Hestia and her inner fire, the fire of the hearth, the inner fire to stick with what is just and right. And so, hey, if you miss out on a few parties, when you missed out on a few festivities right now, I think that's a good thing. We have the Angel of Being as the angel energy that covers all of this. My soul rests in the truth that my being is eternal. So, time for a change, because endings and rebirth, you are putting an end to some form of torment, and you are putting an end to some form of torment that affects that which you love. So maybe it's a relationship thing. Maybe it's more to do with an aspect of yourself which loves something very, very much. Okay, so if this means anything to you, Sagittarius, because again, quite specific, there's a lot of passionate energy here, and I'll be honest, there is a lot of sexual energy here, but that could also mean creative energy. Now, I am feeling, obviously with Aphrodite, I'm feeling, and with Helen of Troy, Venus more than Mars, despite this Ace of Wands. But this new path of yours, or this path that you take at the moment, bear in mind, it's not necessarily a long-term path, is sexier than the party. Definitely sexier than the parties. And just be careful about what sudden discoveries that you make. Test them. Definitely test them. Okay, so like I say, if this means anything to you, Sagittarius, comment down below. Your next reading will be the lunar galactic readings, which will hopefully be out on Saturday. All right, cheers.